Funny. It'd be great offseason fodder. All right, let's pivot to a team without recent postseason success. The Bills fans don't like to hear this, but hey, this could be your year. They've had their share of playoff heartbreak. There was the instant classic in 2021 where Gabe Davis scored 4 times, but Patrick Mahomes tied it with that 13-second drive, won it in overtime. We all remember that. Also, the AFC title game in 2024. Allen led a double-digit comeback, but while trailing on 4th down at the 2-minute warning, that heave to Dalton Kincaid fell incomplete. Buffalo eliminated by the Chiefs 4 times in a 5-season span. I mean, the Chiefs have just stood in their way. Then last year in Denver, despite 5 turnovers and a controversial interception call, the Bills forced overtime but fell short yet again. Josh Allen often becomes the focus, but here is Bills star tackle Dion Dawkins.
It seems like that we need all the pieces around him to continue to get better to help him get over that hump. Because if Josh is number 1, he's at his best, right? If I'm not top 10 or if I'm not at number 1, that means that I'm not at my best, which means I have to do better. Dawson, Dalton, Joe Brady, Cook, everybody has to do better. So we're all going to be that and do that so we can get over that hump and we can be exactly what we want to be and stop talking about it, right? Like, I'm ready for it. It's time. And I'm telling you, man, it's kill to be killed, and we're not playing around. We are not playing around with nobody.
All right, tell him, Dion. I love it. Bill Dawkins saying that Josh Allen's done enough. If that's the case, where does this team as a whole need to improve?
The pass rush is where I would look. That has been lacking in their playoff losses. During the regular season, over the past 5 years, pass rush for Buffalo, pretty good. Sack rate just under 7%. That's the 7th best rate in football. In the postseason, in those 5 losses over the last 5 years, 2.5% sack rate. That is not going to hold up. And Mahomes, maybe you say, hey, he's so good at avoiding sacks. Bo Nix in the postseason last year, 46 pass attempts in that game against the Bills, 0 sacks for the Buffalo defense. And some of this is on the coaching staff that's now departed under Sean McDermott. Some of it is the guys Brandon Beane's brought in. Von Miller was their big kind of over-the-top addition. That didn't land. Last year it was Joey Bosa. All Joey Bosa did in that game was take a truly insane roughing the passer penalty in overtime. Mm-hmm. They need that guy to step up. Whoever it is in 2026, whether it's Gregory Rousseau, Ed Oliver, they need a pass rusher to make a difference there in those postseason games.
Yeah, or it can be schematic, right? Because Jim Leonard's the new DC. They're replacing Sean McDermott. And McDermott was all 4-down rush, zone coverage behind, pretty, simple bread and butter. Leonard has the college background, right? We're talking simulated pressures, right? We're talking the ability to manufacture pressure from different angles. And he spent the last 2 years with Vance Joseph there in Denver. Vance Joseph sends the heat, right? Especially in the postseason. They'll send bodies. So that postseason disappearance of the pass rush has been the kind of the secret underlying issue underneath all the Josh Allen narratives. You heard Dion Dawkins say, Cook needs to be better, Dalton needs to be better, Joe Brady. No name for the defense there, and that was supposed to be the calling card for Sean McDermott, but it fell behind on those best offensive lines in the postseason one too many times. So if there's going to be a one domino difference maker that gets the Bills over the hump, it'll be a wonderful game by the pass rush under Jim Leonard in this postseason.
Yeah, I love it. And these are specific things to look for, right, Tim? But a little bigger picture, when you have a team that's been this good for so long, I mean, they've been right there. We just showed it. It's literally been like the Chiefs and then last year Denver standing in their way. How do you handle the pressure?
I think it's the difficult part about this, Laura, because it's almost like the regular season becomes a formality. You look at some of these teams. Well, it was, been the Ravens in years past where they win 12 or 14 games. No one cares. Inside the organization, fan base, around the league, it's like, yeah, that's great. But what about the postseason? Because that's been the problem. I think that's exactly where the Bills are right now. And I think it's a scary place to be because when you get into the postseason, now all of a sudden the magnitude, basically all of the pressure gets pushed to right then. And so, I mentioned it with the Ravens. I was with the Eagles in the early 2000s, and it was like, hey, they'd been to the NFC Championship game, I think three or four times in the prior seasons, and couldn't beat the Rams. And it was like, you know what? Let's just get the game at the vet rather than have to go play the greatest show on turf in St. Louis. Well, so the regular season was just like, you just were waiting for the postseason to come. Well, sure enough, home field advantage at the vet, ended up playing Tampa. I can just tell you that the pressure that felt like it was on that team, because it was like nothing really up until that point mattered because this was the hump that they had to get over. It just, it changes things. And I would just say for the Bills, what's scary about that is you're doing it with now a first-year head coach, which, I think is a pretty tall task.
You want the absolute worst Bills playoff stat in history, just the most brutal
Oh,
one?
I'm scared, but
they've won a
give it to
playoff
us.
game in 6 consecutive years, all right? That's only happened 3 times previous in the Super Bowl era. All 3 of those teams won 3 Super Bowls apiece. The Bills didn't appear in a single one. So you talk about getting so close, past the wild card round into the divisional round and not even appearing in the big game.
Buffalo has reached the point where winning 12 games will not make anybody feel better. Not Josh Allen, not Joe Brady, not Bills Mafia. The regular season has almost become a formality because everybody knows how this story is judged. January arrives, the pressure explodes, and Buffalo is asked the same question again. Can this team finally finish? The scars are everywhere. 13 seconds, 4 playoff eliminations against Kansas City in 5 seasons, another devastating ending in Denver, 6 straight years with at least 1 postseason victory, but still no Super Bowl appearance. And while Josh Allen absorbs most of the attention, the real problem has often existed around him. The pass rush disappears, the defense fails to create the final stop. Another elite Allen performance becomes another painful memory. Now, Joe Brady takes control during the most unforgiving season imaginable. He is not inheriting a rebuilding project, he is inheriting a championship expectation. Buffalo needs him to maintain an elite offense while Jim Lenhard rebuilds the defensive identity and attempts to manufacture the pressure that disappeared under the previous regime. But what if Buffalo decides the answer cannot be only defensive? What if Brandon Beane looks at the most explosive free agent gamble available and asks whether Tyreek Hill could change the entire geometry of Joe Brady's offense? Let's be completely clear. Tyreek Hill has not signed with Buffalo. There's no confirmed visit, offer, or negotiation involving the Bills. He's also recovering from a major leg injury, and there is legitimate uncertainty surrounding his ability to play during the 2026 season. This would not be a normal free agent pursuit. It would be a medical gamble, a financial gamble, and a championship gamble. But imagine the upside if Hill receives medical clearance and accepts a heavily protected contract. DJ Moore gives Buffalo a proven outside receiver who can win through contact and create after the catch. Khalil Shakir is one of Josh Allen's most trusted options. Keon Coleman still has an opportunity to develop. Hill would bring something completely different: fear. Not reputation, not social media excitement, actual defensive fear. Even a reduced version of Tyreek Hill could force safeties to respect the deep field. Corners would have to protect against vertical speed. Linebackers could not become overly aggressive against James Cook. Defensive coordinators would have to choose between keeping 2 safeties deep or leaving Josh Allen with favorable numbers underneath. That could change everything for Joe Brady. Picture Hill aligned wide with DJ Moore on the opposite side. Shakir moves through the slot. Dalton Kincaid attacks the middle. James Cook threatens the defense from the backfield. Where does the safety go? Double Hill and Moore receives isolated coverage. Lean toward Moore and Hill gets an opportunity to attack vertically. Protect both sidelines and Allen gains space to run or hit Kincaid between the numbers. Buffalo has spent years asking Josh Allen to defeat defenses after the play breaks down. Hill could help Brady defeat them before the snap. But the deal would have to be ruthless from Buffalo's perspective. 1 year, minimal guaranteed money, medical protections, and incentives connected to games active, snaps, receptions, and postseason production. No major commitment based on what Hill accomplished in Kansas City or Miami. No assumption that a player recovering from a serious injury will immediately return as the fastest receiver in football. And no promise that the offense will revolve around him. Hill would need to accept a carefully managed role, limited snaps early, designed vertical routes, motion packages, selected opportunities where his presence creates space even when the football never reaches him. Buffalo would have to preserve him for January, not chase September statistics. There are also real reasons to avoid the move. The injury could remove the speed that made Hill special. Buffalo already invested in DJ Moore and has younger receivers who need opportunities. Adding a famous name could disrupt the room if expectations are not clearly defined. and the Bills cannot allow an offensive gamble to distract them from the problem highlighted in this cut. The pass rush still has to show up. Jim Lenhard still needs someone to pressure Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar Jackson, or Bo Nix when the season reaches its final drive. Hill cannot record a sack. He cannot stop the run. He cannot prevent another defensive collapse. But he could change how much Buffalo has to ask from Allen on every possession. One explosive touchdown could create a lead the defense can attack behind. One deep completion could force an opponent to abandon its comfortable game plan. One defender pulled away from the box could give James Cook the rushing lane that controls the fourth quarter. That is the potential solution. Do not sign Tyreek Hill to become the entire offense. Sign him, hypothetically, to create one element no defense can casually ignore. Buffalo is entering the season of everything or nothing. Joe Brady is carrying the pressure of a first-year head coach. Jim Lenhard is carrying the responsibility of fixing the hidden playoff failure. Allen is playing for the championship that changes his legacy forever. If Hill is medically cleared, affordable, and willing to accept a protected role, Brandon Beane should investigate every detail. Because at this stage, Buffalo cannot be afraid of calculated risk. It should be afraid of another January ending where Josh Allen did everything possible, and the Bills still didn't have enough. Bills Mafia, would you offer Tyreek Hill a low-risk prove-it contract, or is the injury uncertainty simply too dangerous? Tell me in the comments, hit the like button, and subscribe for more Bills news, rumors, and real Buffalo reactions.